In remembrance of the more than 90 lives lost, the Eastern Cape Provincial Government will hold a day of mourning today in Decoligny Village, Mthatha. The solemn occasion is dedicated to honouring the memory of all the individuals who tragically lost their lives during floods that wreaked havoc in the province. The day of mourning comes after officials in Mthatha recovered another body following devastating floods that struck the province last week. More than 90 people are now known to have died and hundreds of others have been displaced. Search operations are ongoing for those who are still missing. The provincial government said in a statement it recognises the profound pain and loss suffered by the affected families and communities, and it remains committed to standing with them in this difficult time. As the Eastern Cape observes a provincial day of mourning in remembrance of the lives lost, our reporter Chriselda is on the ground at the solemn occasion. Chriselda, good morning to you.
Well, morning to you once again, Leanne, and this is where at the King Sabata Dalindyebo College, the Cogta campus, this is where scores of mourners are expected to arrive a little bit later on this morning for this day of remembrance, this provincial day of mourning. We're expecting hundreds, of mourners to gather here, including family members who've had to be, accommodated in emergency areas as a result of those deadly floods. And we do understand that the death toll has now risen. That would have been the expectation, Leanne, given the fact that we heard from the rescue and recovery teams that, once the waters subside, as they continue to scour through the debris, they would find additional bodies. There's still families at this point who are still waiting for news of family members that are unaccounted for. But I want to bring in the Cogta MEC here in the Eastern Cape, Zolile Williams, who will give us an update on that death toll. MEC, thank you very much indeed for making time for us so early to get an update on what the latest is. First of all, I do understand that the death toll is now at 92. Can you confirm that for us?
Good morning, Chriselda, and good morning to the viewers. First and foremost, let me, on behalf of the Honourable Premier of our province, the Provincial Government and the people of the Eastern Cape, send a message of condolences to those families that have been affected by this unprecedented, catastrophic and disaster that we have never seen in our lifetime. And the numbers are unfortunately still increasing, and we will update you with official figures as the day continues. Yesterday we reported 91 as an official figure, but late the search and rescue team indicated, and we've seen the body that was found of a little girl. And now the death toll is about 92, and we will definitely update the media as the day goes by. But somber moment, difficult and very disheartening moments when you interact with the families. Some have not still seen or received their loved ones, and we're making a clarion call for those that are still unidentified, because we've got 5 bodies that are not identified. Though they may be coming from other areas outside Mthatha. So we're really appealing for the families to talk and identify who is not seen for a long time in the past 2 weeks, so that we can be able to identify those dead bodies that are still in the morgue.
Yes. MEC, you have been with the families. They're obviously, and as would be expected, very devastated by what has happened. What are those immediate needs? I know as the provincial government you've stepped in to provide that emergency accommodation. Not ideal, but of course, as time goes on, there would need to be some sort of permanency in terms of where they're stationed.
Well, there are actions we've already engaged on, identifying land where we could relocate those affected to that land. And our discussions are advanced. Department of Human Settlements is engaged. The minister was here, the municipality, traditional leaders, so that we can be able to relocate those communities. And we have now, in line with the Disaster Act, after 48 hours, we must look for an accommodation that would at least be favorable. So we have taken all those families to bed and breakfast accommodations around Mthatha. But that has got also its own problems because it's a family. Now it must be accommodated and all that. But those glitches, we are working on them so that at least their life is comforted as they are there. But we know everyone would want to go back to his house or her house in order to get comfortable. But we're trying to do our best to manage the situation.
MEC, very quickly, I'm told in the studio that I've run out of time. There's also unfortunate incidents that have taken place, allegations of extortionists trying to threaten aid organizations into not delivering free water. This is really unfortunate given the circumstances. And have those individuals been identified? Those individuals who've been making these threats to these aid organizations, including the Gift of the Givers, because there seem to be people who want to cash in on tragedy.
Exactly. It's unfortunate. Those are lumpens and scums of society that ignore and disregard the state we are in currently. And we have then, because the JOC operates full-time, 2 meetings per day, 9 o'clock and 7 o'clock. So we've indicated to the police commissioner around Mthatha to say there are pictures of those people. Those must be followed because we want the law to take its course. And I think around Mthatha, since the extortion started, we were able to deal with many of them. Now, if they are rising again, I think the police are, having capacity to deal with that. So that has been reported. They are following it up. And suddenly, it has now subsided because we're getting no reports about it currently.
MEC, thank you very much indeed for your time. We do appreciate it. The MEC for Cogta here in the Eastern Cape, Zolile Williams, talking to us about the latest in terms of the death toll, now at 92. As confirmed by him, you'd recall, of course, that last night, late yesterday afternoon into the evening, the body of a female was also discovered. But the expectation is that we might see that body count rise due to the waters that have now subsided as these rescue teams continue scouring through the debris to try and find, additional individuals who are still missing. Also indicating that 5 bodies have not yet been identified, calling on families who have not seen their loved ones to also make contact with the authorities to try and get those bodies identified. So let's go now live to my colleague Lerato, who is on the other side.
Well, a very good morning. Thank you, Chriselda. We are outside the King Mthatha TVET College, where the Provincial Day of Mourning will take place. And Sakina, we speak about 93 people that have passed on. I think that today is when we get to put names to their faces and identify exactly who these people are, who have tragically lost their lives in the Mthatha floods last week. We're going to see members of the family make their way here. We have heard that MEC Mvoko will give the keynote address. Minister of Human Settlement Melane will give a national support message as well. And also have heard that members of the clergy and members of the Home of Traditional Leaders will also be here to pledge their support. But interestingly, Sakina, part of the support will also be the message or the prayer against extortion, where there'll be a prayer specifically about extortion. Chriselda spoke about that, and yesterday I got to speak to the Gift of the Givers, who expressed their dissatisfaction as to how tough it has been at a time where people are in dire need of necessities, in dire need of basic things such as water, and they are getting threats from what people are calling water mafias and Mthatha, who are threatening that if they continue to supply water, there will be harm to them, which is quite disheartening. Like the MEC says, that at a time where people are wanting help, there are people that are seeing an opportune time to loot destitute and also bring disadvantage to the people that are destitute. But also, Sakina, this morning is about the members of the families who are going to come here, and perhaps this will perhaps be the one time where all the family members will gather in one place and together try share mourning, try share their pains of their loved ones. We have also heard that several members, family members, will start beginning the burial sessions starting tomorrow and also Saturday. So throughout the weekend, we'll see members of the families begin now to piece the pieces together to start the burials. But like the MEC said, also important is to try and find out the over 4,000 people who are currently placed in places of shelter and B&Bs. What is the next step? Where are they going to go? We have heard that the Minister of Human Settlement, Thembisi Melani, has identified land where houses were going to be built. But the question is now what are the time frames towards it? And later on, I'll be speaking to the MEC of Finance, Mr. Mvoko, to speak about the rescue mission, to speak about the way forward, what time frames are in place to ensure that people don't stay in community houses, that those that want to go back and rebuild don't again rebuild in the place where they're trying to be taken away from because it lies in a flood-prone area. But I think more than anything else this morning or this day is going to be about providing support, emotional and psychological. You can imagine, Sakina, how tough it must be to lose absolutely everything, the psychological impact, the emotional impact, and on top of that, find people who are still looking for their loved ones. Like Chriselda said, that another body being identified last night and more bodies still to be identified, and those that are still waiting for their loved ones to be identified and to be found is still a tough time for many families. But I said we're going to focus a lot this morning on the human element of the story, the people behind those that have lost their loved ones. And I'm going to speak now and cross over to Fundiswa, who is in Mthatha as well, to speak to community members. Some of them will be making their way here to the TVET College to offer their support and also to get support from the government during this tragic time. Fundiswa, it's over to you.
Thank you very much, Lerato, and good morning once again to Sakina and Leanne in studio. We are still coming to you live from Zolile Township here next to Decoligny, where movement has started already. People are getting ready to go to the memorial service. But what is shocking, Leanne and Sakina, we see that people, when they leave here to get ready, they move with their mattresses and their blankets. When we ask them why are they living with those, they say that there are people who come here when they are gone and steal their belongings. And they are now, as I'm speaking to you, they are living with those belongings. But we have a community member here who came here to pray this morning for these people. She was in tears. She was saying that she has never seen what has just happened here at Decoligny just over a week ago. Her name is Mama Duna Ngudle. Mama, ubusithi wena uyaqala ukuyibona into enje uthi ayikhe yenzeka kodwa lento ngo-2013 kodwa zange kude kubekho imbubhane enje.
Ewe mntana kunjalo.
Khasicacisele.
Ngo-2013 mntanam imvula yaye yanetha. Kunjanje yanetha mntanam. Apha ke sinabahlala bakufutshane lapha ecaweni abakwakhe bakhe lapha kufutshane namanzi. So kodwa unabafumana ithamsanqa loba bakhalaze baphume. Zange ibekho intlekele enje ngalanyaka. Zange ibekho abantu bakhalaze basinda.
Yayinethe ixesha elingakanani mhlawumbe?
Yanetha up to 5 days okuyayinetha kokoko.
Ubusithi nawe ulungiselela ukuya kwi-memorial service mama. Iniphatha njani kodwa nje lento yenzekileyo apha kule ndawo yaseDecoligny nale ndawo yoMthatha West?
Ayisonwabisi mntana lento. Ayisonwabisi konke. Ukutshona kwabantwana. Mina xa ndicinga ke abanye abantwana abancinci abatshonileyo besibakhupha apha ngoLwesithathu. Ndibe ndisazi into yobana abanye abazali bebexhomekeke kwigranti yaba bantwana. Ibe ke nemisebenzi ayikho. Asazi ke ngoku abantu bazawuthini na nabazali abo. Kuba kuzawutheka ntoni kwimisebenzi engekho, imisebenzi enqabileyo bazawuphinde bathini abantu. Ngoba bencedisa kakhulu ziigranti zabantwana babo. Banene 350 noxa ke bezirhola. Azenzi into ingako. Enkosi injalo mntana.
Enkosi Mama siyabulela ngexesha lakho. That is one of the community members, Umama Duna Ngudle, rather. She's saying that in 2013 there were heavy rains and the people living next to the Cogta river were very devastated. But she's also saying that she's also going to the memorial service. She's saying that she's hoping, she's very devastated because some of the parents who lost their children here depended on the child support grant that they were receiving. Back to you, Sakina.
All right, Fundiswa, it's Leanne. Thank you so much. Thank you for covering this for us. Our team, as you can see, out and about in the Eastern Cape. Fundiswa Mthatha talking to us about, gosh, the now 92 lives that have been confirmed. And unfortunately, this toll continues to rise all the time. But this is a very special focus that the SABC will be taking this morning ahead of that memorial service.